Welcome back to what may be the craziest video of all time. This guy claims a true story that he went from being a homeless person all the way to being a millionaire by doing one simple thing. And we're gonna see what that is. So let's see what my boy's doing.
When I was homeless, I sort of walked around the city instead of staying in one spot too long.
Now that seems fair. If you're homeless, you're gonna walk around, get some steps in. All right. So we got the picture of the dude here. Let's see what he's been doing.
I collected cans and bottles that I could get a little money for, and sometimes I got lucky enough to find something sharp so I could cut my shaggy
Wow, I
hair.
think that's where we were going. He said I thought you were about to say so I could shank people or kill them. I'm just saying that was my first thought.
The day it all began, I was walking at night to the spot where I usually slept, but there were a couple of teenagers messing around there.
Telling me you were sleeping on the side of a sidewalk? I mean, look, I'm not obviously in that position, but if I was, I'd be sleeping under a tree or like in a very hidden area. I'm not sleeping in the middle of the sidewalk.
They were painting stuff on the wall.
Wow.
I knew I looked pretty scary, and they didn't know I was only a few years older than them, so I started running.
I mean, I'll be honest, that is scary. Like if I was in that situation, I'd sprint away and run and never come back.
Full speed at them and waving my arms like crazy, shouting incoherencies. I laughed when I saw their terror.
Oh, I get it. Okay, he was just trying to scare them because he knew he was scary. I get it, makes sense.
But notice they left their paint cans behind. It was spray paint. I wasn't really tired that night, so I thought I might as well make use of my new spray paint. I started painting over the terrible graffiti and realized I was actually not bad at it.
Dang, I already feel like that's cap. You're not just good at painting. You got to spend years practicing this. It just teaches people that they could just pick up a spray paint and be good. This is unrealistic expectations to you guys, but I'm here for you, all right? I got you.
It looked much better than the teenagers thing. I painted and painted with only a flickering lamppost illuminating the wall until I couldn't stop yawning. I shoved the spray cans in my bag and laid down on the least dirty part of the floor to sleep.
Oh.
It became a habit of mine to paint.
What the heck? How'd you go from random colors to a freaking black hole sun on the side of I mean, this looks great. So my theory is this guy used to be an artist and got fired. Maybe he did something inappropriate or something. I don't know.
For days, I had covered the entire wall of the alley where I slept in with paint. It was a huge mural. I was walking around the day after I finished it when I saw some people taking pictures of it and taking pictures of themselves in front of it.
Cool.
I guess they like it, I thought.
But how do you find this many walls in a city to paint that often without getting... Isn't this like highly illegal? I guess it doesn't matter.
This went on for some time. People apparently liking my art.
Wow.
I like making people happy and making
I mean, how do you make a pixelated paint using spray cans? That's very impressive.
city look better. So I started painting in other places.
Detail.
But anonymously, of course.
Wow.
I filled the city with as many of my
Oh my gosh, this is the story of Bansky. We've realized who Bansky is and how he started.
murals as I could, and people seemed to love it. Some days I couldn't paint because my cans were empty, but I scavenged for more and kept painting. One night, I found a bunch of perfectly good cans under a great wall. It was even white, which made the colors pop more.
Oh, I bet someone set them up for you so they could catch you in the act.
I started painting, and when I was about halfway done, I felt a tap on my shoulder.
Oh,
Damn,
the police!
I thought, the police caught me. I turned around and saw a man. He looked like he was in his 20s like me.
Wasn't it just pitch black out? Now it literally looks like the middle of the day. What kind of weird dimension we in where time don't apply?
He didn't look homeless though, unlike me. Hey, I'm Reggie, he said. I shook his
Looks like a future business partnership coming in here, folks.
hand and said, I'm Kai. He pointed at the spray
What? What's your name?
cans and said, I see you liked my spray paint. Ah, so they were his. I started apologizing for using them, saying I didn't know they belonged to someone, but he said he left them there for me. Reggie started explaining how he was a struggling artist. He painted and painted, but nobody bought his art.
No kidding. You just have to be homeless, man. That's the secret. How do you not know that?
He wanted to strike a deal with me.
Uh-oh.
He said he'd buy me all the paint and other art supplies I needed, and that he could sell my art.
And I'll probably just take 85% of it because he's going to rip you off. Like, that's what I would think.
He said he'd be the face of the business since he was so charismatic, and I would get to paint whatever I wanted for money. We'd split the money 50-50.
50-50. So my boy is gonna put up 20 bucks to buy you some spray pans. He's taking this is the worst deal ever in the history of deals. The worst.
Now I realize it
Horrible.
wasn't that good a deal,
Okay,
but
at
back
least you know
then
that.
I was homeless,
Okay,
desperate to get off the streets.
Okay.
So I shook his hand and made the deal with the devil.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad they reference how bad that deal is because I'm cringing at that. 50-50. Maybe not. I wouldn't even do. I don't know. 5%.
After 3 months, I was settled well into a small studio apartment Reggie found for me.
What kind of studio apartment comes with a statue of David built into it? Look at this place.
Rent was pretty good, and I had more than enough space. My apartment was full of canvases and sculptures, and I was proud of each and every one. First thing Reggie did after we made the deal was drag me to a barber, where he had them
Good.
shave off my entire beard and cut my hair much shorter than it was.
Good.
I barely recognized
Wow,
myself.
look at this handsome man. Cleaned himself up nicely, clean shaven. That looks like an artist now.
I looked in the mirror for hours thinking, wow, I'm kinda good looking.
Wow.
Reggie and I became friends. He even asked me about how I became homeless in the first place. My parents died when I was pretty young, I told him. I didn't want to live in the orphanage I was put into, so I ran away. And I've lived on the streets ever since. Reggie was the first person to ever show any sort of interest in me. It was really touching. He put one hand on my shoulder and squeezed, trying to comfort me. It didn't work, but at least
It didn't work, but at least he gave it his all. He tried to comfort me.
he tried. Now I spent my days painting and sculpting or making pottery. Reggie spared no expense.
These are very different skill sets. My boy knows how to sculpt out of clay and spray paint, pixel art. I mean, this guy's got the broad range of skill sets.
Business wasn't that great though.
Huh.
For some reason, I really expected us to be making bank.
Maybe he was
but
scamming
we
you.
were barely making minimum wage.
He was lying.
Reggie walked in on the first of every month and handed me a wad of cash, but he looked more disappointed.
If he's the one collecting it, he's the one that's not giving you all your money. You're being scammed.
I reassured him that I was fine and that things would get better soon. But he still left looking deflated. I would occasionally take walks around the city. I guess I was used to it. I visited my murals, and I saw that there was a security guard at the first one I ever painted.
Wow.
Sometimes. I approached to see it and saw that it had a signature.
Reggie was taking credit?
Not just any signature, Reggie's signature.
Uh-oh.
What the hell? He was
Oh, I knew it, man. When someone comes in and tries to rip you off with a bad business deal, you know they're there for bad intentions. And this
I stormed over to Reggie's apartment, which he said he'd be at. But when I knocked on the door, nobody answered. I waited for a long time and called Reggie several times, but nothing.
Dang, you waited like 24 hours to get this call?
He showed up after maybe 2 hours and looked shocked to see me. He was wearing really fancy clothes, so
Oh, he is collecting the money. Dude, how do I know this stuff? It's just how the world works,
I
guys.
asked him about that.
This stuff happens.
They're knockoffs. Gotta look the part in order to sell, kid. Before I could ask him about why he signed my mural, he waved a huge wad of cash in my face, more than we made in 2 months, and said, I sold one of your sculptures to some money bags. I grabbed the money. More money than I had ever
Wow,
held
so I'm trying to figure out right now, is he actually
My
hiding
hands-
the money or what? Was he going to pay him later?
before, and thought things were finally starting to
Interesting.
look up. 2 months after that, I was still in the same apartment painting until I didn't even know what to paint anymore.
Ooh.
Sculpting until I thought my sculptures looked the same.
They do look the same. You actually made the exact same thing twice, 3 times in a row.
I had spent a bunch of money on new clothes, so now my closet was full, but my stomach was empty. I waited by the window for Reggie
And you live in New York City downtown. Did you just see that view? My boy is living, it's a $5,000 a month apartment. I think he's lying to us. I think we're being lied to. This guy's already a millionaire.
to bring me my cut of the profits. And when he arrived, I noticed he slipped into the back of his car, moved around, and slipped back to the front, only then coming to give me my money.
Why would he do that?
I watched him do this several
That's weird.
times over the course of a few weeks, and then I realized what he was doing.
What?
He was changing his clothes. The last time I watched him do that, I had invited him over to eat and watch a football game, but then went outside with the excuse of needing to buy something that
I think the other guy, Reggie, wants to be famous. He doesn't care as much about the money. I could be wrong. I think he just wants credit for the good art.
I sprinted downstairs into the parking lot and
Yeah.
peeked inside Reggie's car.
How creepy would that be? I'm just saying.
There were neatly folded clothes in there,
Interesting.
and I could see the tag of a shirt. It was a
Gucci.
very expensive shirt, and it
Versace.
didn't look like a knockoff at all. It was then that I realized Reggie must be scamming me.
Finally! Oh my gosh, what's it take, man? We've known this since you met him.
I bet he's selling the art for way more
Yeah.
and giving me only a small percentage, I thought. I was furious. I wasn't about to be exploited by a slime ball like Reggie. I used a rock from the garden to smash Reggie's window open.
Is that really the most logical choice here? Is that what we're gonna do?
I was gonna take the shirt, but I ended up taking a flyer that was next.
So you're gonna steal from him. You're gonna steal back from the man. Now you're going to jail too.
It was a flyer to Reggie's gallery, apparently. More like my gallery.
How do you not realize this exists?
That night, I went on another walk around the city.
Good.
I would have gone directly to Reggie's gallery, but the flyer didn't have an address, just a website that I couldn't access. I was giving up when I suddenly turned a corner,
Yeah.
and there it was.
What was it?
It was a glowing cube of glass.
The gallery of art and your piece. Wow, you freaking model full on people. Look inside that window. Where what the heck?
I couldn't recognize it at first, but the closer I walked, the more I recognized the paintings and sculptures as mine. Where's the so-called artist? I demanded to know. From the back of the venue came Reggie, wearing
comes
sunglasses
out with the
indoors in a
champagne.
well-lit room, like a pretentious prick.
Oh no.
He held 2 glasses of champagne, one in each hand, and handed one to me. Relax, Kai. Celebrate. We're a hit.
Wow, he's getting taken for a ride. I hope he can finally end this and sue him.
He had the nerve to say to me. You mean you are a hit? I said to him. All of these are my art, I exclaimed. Prove it, he smirked at me.
Woo! Dude, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I feel so bad for a homeless man right now.
I was speechless. He had won. He had 2 guards
Oh, he
grab
got
me
him
by the
kicked out.
arms
No
and kick
way.
me out. Damn it, what do I do now? I thought. But then a light bulb lit over my head. I ran home, taking a shortcut. Now that I knew where the gallery was, it would take me no time to come back.
Yes, but that's
Half
still
an
not the
hour
right move.
later, I was back with
Why?
2 canvases under one arm and a
Are you gonna
toolbox
paint?
full
Please
of art
paint. Please
supplies
prove
under
to them
the
you
other.
can do this, please.
Reggie, I shouted. He came out of the crowd of people admiring my art and scowled. I'm ready, I said. The 2 guards set everything up for us.
Oh, how did you manage to get the guards on your side? That doesn't even make any sense.
2
But okay.
canvases, back to back, so we couldn't
An
see
old Western art battle.
each other's. We had the same paint and the same amount of time to paint something as simple
Wow.
as a tree. I knew exactly how I wanted it, so I was more than confident. I could tell Reggie was pulling at his collar, panicking a little. He took off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. One of the guards counted down, and we started the race. I could tell I was
wonder who's
doing
gonna
well
win
because
after.
people standing behind me were gasping, while
Yes.
people behind Reggie looked confused, and some even
Yes.
betrayed. We spun our canvases around and revealed them to
my-
the crowd. My tree was
That is gorgeous. I would hang that up in my room right now if I wanted a tree with owls on it.
a great representation of what my style was.
Look
A
at
style which everyone in that room loved.
Your style is literally everything. I want to make that clear right now. You do everything, my man.
Reggie's painting
What the heck? There's no way. He went to art school and that's what he made.
looked like a unicorn threw up on it.
That's accurate.
It was an absolute disaster.
See.
The 2 bodyguards grabbed Reggie by the arms as he kicked
Dude, these
and
bodyguards are too much. They're just throwing everyone out. They don't even know
screamed
what they're
and
doing.
threw him out through the front door. He banged on the door, but they locked it. Everyone crowded around me, bombarding me with questions and
Good.
saying they were gonna sue Reggie to get their money.
They were going to sue Reggie. Okay, I
Back.
mean, it's America, sure.
That was
Sue him for
only
whatever.
the beginning. My paintings and sculptures all sold for more money than I could have ever dreamed of.
Okay.
I was filthy rich.
Wow.
Sometime later, I was living in a penthouse apartment,
Dude, that's
much
that's a
bigger
nice
than I
apartment.
needed and
Look
with
at
all
that.
the luxury. I allowed Reggie to live in the apartment I lived at before, paying
Why would you do
his
that?
rent every month like he paid mine for some time.
Wow.
Except I didn't change my clothes into less fancy ones. I let him see me in all my glory, dressed
Wow.
to the nines.
My
Every
boy
day that I threw
flexing.
some cash at him and then drove off to go to some celebrity's party.
Fact or cap, I'm calling this one 100% fact. I feel like this is real. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking right here to go watch another. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.